Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Bad Psychics podcast. This is our review episode for Survivor Season 48. As always, I am joined by three idiots, and today it's these three. First up, she's most likely to say we should do something 5 seconds before she starts snoring. It's Cassie. How you doing, Cass?
I'm good. I feel like I'm not usually that person, but we can go with that.
I have definitely seen you go from proactive to sleeping in very quick succession.
I've never fallen asleep on call with you. I've come close, but I never have.
Yet. Next up, I predict she's most likely to publicly call someone out for only lasting 15 seconds. It's Eloise. How you doing, Eloise?
Is that a reference or?
Yeah. Cedric tried to sass on one of the competitions, and Jeff said, "With respect, Cedric, you lasted 15 seconds."
You'd know if you'd watched the season more than 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And finally, most likely to cry out with delight after finally getting milked for the first time in 15 days, it's Jeeta. How you doing, Jeeta?
Excellent, now that I have milk.
Perfect. Before we start, Eloise, how did you enjoy season 48?
Yeah, it was good. It's very fresh on my mind because I very much binged it within like 3 days. But yeah, really good season for like modern standards, in my opinion. Like good winner, good merge tribe, good everything. So yeah, I think overall it was a good season.
Excellent. Jeeta, there's been a little bit of, let's say, mixed opinions on it on social media. Like, what?
One way of putting it.
Yeah. Why do you think that this season has been so divisive?
I don't know. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I might be the wrong person to ask because it's the first season I've watched fully live. So, it's a little bit of a different perspective than watching something that has previously happened.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think there could be an argument that there were some hero edits, but also it's possible that people are projecting onto how they perceived the season. And I feel like the answer is probably somewhere in the middle.
Okay, perfectly fair. And Cass, any particular highlights for you? What stands out?
Oh, there were a lot of moments that stood out for me. I mean, I think that as somebody who I have nephews who have autism and things like that, I think seeing Eva be so vulnerable with her autism was one of the best things I've ever seen on Survivor, period. And also the other thing that this, got some clout, but like not as much as the Joe and Eva moment is Jeff asking Mitch how to handle his stutter. And that was another thing that I was like, that this is so good because those are both just really good examples of representing people with disabilities in a way that empowers them rather than making them seem different or other. So I don't know. I felt like that's why this is probably my favorite modern season.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think from my perspective, it was probably it was a very human-centered season, and at least in my opinion, it did it without, I suppose, I hate the term, but falling into the traps of wokeness that certain other seasons have. I'm not saying that
You're so woke.
It's too woke.
Yeah. No,
Especially on the start of Pride Month. That's kind of crazy work from you, Z.
I'm literally queer.
Cancelled
Fuck
already.
off. I hate you all. Oh dear. Okay, let's switch to our spreadsheet in a whole and go through our predictions. So first of all, we'll go through our winner picks. I went for Joe. I think that was a really good pick up until about final 5 or 6. So no regrets for me. On the other hand, Cassie, you said Say would win the season. How sizable are your regrets?
I don't regret. I will never regret backing a powerful female, but the problem is that she couldn't channel her power. She was very powerful. She had so much potential, so I don't regret backing her. But as soon as I saw her in the first episode, I knew that she was not going to win, and I personally enjoyed her. She was a little unhinged but fun. She was somebody that you couldn't decide whether you wanted to root for her or against her. Like, I went back and forth on that so many times. But, like, she just she could not channel that energy into a single direction. She just switched gears so many times that she confused herself and everybody that surrounded her. And so I think she has a lot of potential. And I think she made for a really entertaining player in a season that was, for the most part, relatively predictable. She was incredibly unpredictable because she went from being besties with Cedric to plotting against him like overnight, and like so much. Like, she was such a messy player, but also entertaining as all get out.
Speaking of people who didn't last too long, Jeeta, you went for Charity. Any regrets there?
First thing I'll say, missed opportunity to go back to Eloise after the 15-second comment from earlier.
Oh, no, I was more calling you out for being the one that didn't last.
Well, I think gameplay-wise, Charity had a good pre-merge, and was in a decent spot post-swap and then into the merge. I'm blanking on which tribe was actually called what, but Orange Tribe had the majority going into the swap.
Siva.
And there was, Siva. Sorry. Siva had majority going into pre-swap, or going into merge. And there was a chance that they could have stayed strong. I think Charity went a little bit too hard, too fast. Mm-hmm. And I think it got really tricky because I think it was New Vula that created that really close bond that kind of turned into the majority that ran the game. Charity didn't do a good enough job of reading the room and figuring out who the power players were in the merge. And the issue is, if you can't recognize the power structures in a game like this, and recognize who has say and who has pull and who's working with who, especially if you say the wrong name, you get got. And she just kind of pushed a little bit too quick on the wrong people. But I stand by what I said, that like I thought she was navigating some relationships pretty well. up until merge, and then it kind of just went out the window very quickly. Which there's always a couple players every season that you get to the merge and they crash out.
Eloise, you went for Shaheen. How are you feeling about your prediction?
Compared to some of these other predictions, I think it's a pretty good one. I mean, I think Shaheen was pretty good the entire game. Like, the very short-lived California Girls Alliance had good potential, even though it was a bit like they paint the target on themselves, which then was it the Big Five as they call themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Painted even more of a bigger target on themselves, but he kind of then tried to move away from that. So I feel like he played a good game, but I mean that's what happens with some of these like powerful strategic players is they make themselves targets. So I feel like he was very close to getting to the final three, and if moves went his way, but would he have won? That's the thing. I'm not sure who would have won against, but I think he would have had a good chance, considering who won in the end and the game Kyle played. So yeah, I think it's a good shout. I'm kind of glad he didn't win, but also I wouldn't have minded if he did win. But he wasn't up there as my favorite player actually watching the season, but. Yeah, wasn't a bad prediction on my part.
I mean, we'll go through finalists as well. I mean, I said Joe, Eva, Camilla. I got second place, third place, and fourth place, and just didn't see Kyle. So you know, we will see that there's points there, but not as many as there could be. Cass, you were the only person to hedge your bets by putting in different people in your finalists. You also went with Camilla and Eva, but you also went for Stephanie. How are you feeling about those picks?
Oh, I mean, I think that overall I did pretty good. I feel like 2 out of 3. I mean, I picked the first boot. But the other 2 made Final 4.
Yeah.
So I feel like I did fairly well. And I mean, by the end, I was rooting hard for Camilla. But also, like, Eva impressed me too. So, but my favorite player this season ended up being Camilla. And yeah, she made it. She did a fantastic job making it to 4th place.
Fair. Eloise, you went, in addition to your Shaheen pick, for Bianca and Joe. How do you feel about those?
I mean, average American man worked, I suppose, because he did quite well, went quite far. Bianca, less said on that pick, the better. Because, yeah, she didn't really get to do much, unfortunately. She tried, but she wasn't able to do much. But,
yes.
Once again, not bad. Like, I'm glad I called Joe going far, but yeah.
Yes.
Not bad.
I mean, Joe took a lot of flack, especially from Cass in our preview episode. Cass, would you like to make an official apology to the nation's dad now?
You know what? No, because I stand by what I said based on the knowledge that I had. However, he did change my mind, so I don't apologize for what I said before. I feel like based on the information I had, what I said was valid. But then as the season went on, I love Joe. I am a Joe fan. So maybe not apologize for what I said before, but I do admit that I was wrong.
Okay.
Like, I was wrong, but I don't apologize.
It's a correction, not an apology. I'm sure
Yes.
that Joe would accept it as well, because He is a hero.
Very good guy.
Jita, in addition to charity, you also had Eva, and then you had pizza guy Justin. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like you should maybe touch on the episode 3 tribal, because if Eloise does it, she'll explode.
I might as well, to be honest. I think there's a world where Justin could have played a good game. I think his torch was snuffed earlier than it should have been for a variety of reasons. He went out first on a shot in the dark, which is a 1 in 6. Then on a deadlocked vote, where Cedric, after for 2 straight votes, voting to vote out Say, decided to not vote out Say and instead voted out Justin, which makes no sense to me. And I think that if you go back and look at it, okay, right after that was a swap. Let's call, if Say goes home, let's put Justin in Say's place. I think that Justin could have done something. Would have been swapped onto a tribe with Mitch, Chrissy, and Cedric. There's something there that maybe you can work a relationship, get a minority faction that kind of goes in. Oh, and would have been switched with Bianca, I'm pretty sure. Depending on, I don't remember how the swap worked out, but yeah. So it's one of those weird things where just kind of based on how things played out, it would have been really interesting to see if really interesting to kind of see how it played out. And I'm not I don't regret my pick because I think that it's one of the most unique tribals in the history of the show.
Yep.
Just in terms of the way that it played out, and you can't predict what would have come from a game where it doesn't do the super minuscule probability that he went out.
Yes.
His game was fine. He seemed to be getting along with people and making relationships. It's hard to judge, someone going home so early on such a fluke thing. I'd stand by Charity. I thought Eva was going to play very well. Eva did play very well. I thought it was a compelling story. Others on social media did not. But I think for me, it was fairly predictable that someone who was physically accomplished and, had a potential storyline, I'm not surprised that they did well. And that the game kind of played well into Eva's hand, especially finding someone so strong of an ally in Joe.
Fair. Well, let's switch to the point screen and reveal the points for... No, don't do that. You're making mistakes again. No, stop it. I am technologically inept. Let's go. There we go. So none of us picked the winner, so there's no points there. Jita, Eloise, and Cass all get 1 chunk of 6 points for predicting one of the finalists. I had 2 of the finalists, so I get 2 lots of 6 points. Next, we go to first boot. Though, if somebody could get their cursor off the points page, that would be delightful. Thank you very much. Right. So first boots. I think all of us shat the bed with this one. None of them were very close to being first boots at all. I went for Mary. This pick was infuriating because I'm fairly sure that when the apocalypse comes, all that will survive is cockroaches and Mary. Just if cats have 9 lives, she must be 3 cats. Just, I don't understand it. Every episode I thought I was going to finally stop losing points, and then she'd crawl through again. I don't think we need to go through both David picks, so Eloise, you can talk about David. Are we shocked he made it as far as he did?
I mean, at moments, yes, but on like a grander scale, I'm not surprised. I would have been surprised if he got any further than he did, because it was a very short minded kind of very
Small picture.
yeah, like it wasn't he was just trying to be like, oh, we'll be honourable and battle it out and do challenges, and that's all that matters. And it's like, if you watch Survivor, it doesn't work that way. Like it was a weird season with so many like strong powerhouses going far, but like normally a lot of them would have been eliminated by the point that like nearer the end of the season. But there was a lot of good challenge people in there, and but yeah, David, yeah, he was a character. Whole chocolate milk thing, yeah, character, but and then the whole him acting moody and upset the entire ever since he got knocked out, he was moody the entire time, and then they got to the jury, and then they dropped it, and I'm like,
that was what I have to say. That was one of my favorite moments of the game too, because I was like, this guy is such a douchebag. Like he is such a poor sport, and then you find out that it was all an act, and I'm like you gotta take your revenge where you can, and acting bitter when you're not is amazing.
Yeah.
Like amazing.
Was it the Mary vote where
Yes.
she went out and he just stood up?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And just everyone behind him just losing it, because it's like, what is he doing?
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm still baffled by why he did that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Entertaining.
I'm assuming it
Yeah.
was respect for a fallen comrade, but who knows?
Yeah, one of the other things about him that I really enjoyed, Survivor on Instagram posted a bunch of things that went on in Ponderosa, and they showed footage of David and Cedric playing chess. And he had a cup of chocolate milk with the chocolate sauce right there to like make it by hand. And everyone in the comments was talking about it.
Delightful.
incredible.
Yes, you went for Shaheen to complete the trifecta of picks that made it a long way into the game.
Yeah.
Were you shocked that he turned out to be quite an adept player?
I was shocked. Honestly, he was another pleasant surprise. Like, I feel like most of the people who surprised me in this season surprised me in a really good way. Shaheen was one of them. Although I did find out some stuff about him related to my other obsession of true crime that is kind of insane. So, kind of an insanely... I don't know if you guys saw that he is the ex-boyfriend of the woman who faked her own kidnapping for attention, and then ended up going to look up Sherry Papini. You will thank me later. He is her ex-boyfriend. Yo, I'm dead serious. It's a wild story, because she like faked bruises and cuts, was gone for a week. Like, she faked her own abduction, and they proved it, and then it ended up being an ex-boyfriend who had helped her pull it off. And Shaheen came out, and he's like, because people, I guess, like, this is 3 years pre-Survivor. People thought it was him that had helped her pull this off. And he came out, and he's like, no, guys, not me. And also, I mean, he dated her when he was 15 and she was 20, so that's not sketchy at all. not sketchy on his part, definitely high sketch on hers. But again, the woman faked her own kidnapping, so yeah. Anyway, but I'll say allegedly just so I don't get myself in trouble here. But no, like Shaheen was actually a very good player, and I found myself like really enjoying him for most of the season. Like, I think he knew his strengths and weaknesses pretty well, and knew when he could, push hard and when not to.
Yeah.
It just, he underestimated the duo of Kyle and Camilla, and I can't blame him because they were freaking boss, like, as far as having such a tight connection with so little time.
That's fair.
So, pleasant surprise on his part.
Jeter, I can see you're desperate to do it. Do it once and then shut up.
No, I wasn't going to do it.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So yeah.
God, it was my favorite bit of the season, though. Oh, so good. Shaheen just
What
breaking
was?
into the, like, him just randomly spontaneous starting to do the Survivor singing. He's just sat there on the bench. Oh, waka, simi no waka.
There
Yep,
we go.
yeah.
You've had your one of those. Not now. No more.
I'll make it a soundbite on my Discord by the end of the day.
Hell yeah.
Right, so we'll switch back to the score page. We all heavily lost points here because of how the scoring was. Jeter and Eloise both lose 9 points. I lose 11 points. And Cass loses 12 points. So currently Cass, Eloise, and Jeter are all in minus figures. But, don't worry, that'll change.
Will it change for me? I don't think so.
You'll have to wait and find out. Next we go into the best tribe. Two choices here. We'll have one person talk on both. Cass, Siva, ended up being the best tribe. When you saw them in action, did it surprise you that it got that far?
Remind me who was on Siva. I don't have that in front of me.
Orange.
I
Camilla, Mitch, David, Chrissy, Charity.
No, okay, that's what it was. No, it did not surprise me that they did so well. Mostly because they all seemed like reasonably intelligent people. I was not really including David in that at the time. But he did prove me wrong slightly on that. But no, they were all really like decently strong people too. And that, I mean, there wasn't really a weak link on their tribe. All solid.
Yes. And then Jeter, you picked Lagi. They ended up doing okay. How do you think they functioned as a tribe?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I think this looks very different. If you, obviously, it looks very different if you exclude 2 members on the tribe, but obviously they were part of the tribe. Thomas landed in a really tricky situation on his swap, and he got idled out just as kind of like, based on how things went, idle got played, they had information, they made sure the idle got played correctly. Bianca then lost her vote when she went on the adventure, and she went home because she was on a 2-2 tribe, and she didn't have a vote to tip the scales, and it got clocked. I think that as a tribe, Thomas, Bianca, Eva, Joe, and Shaheen were all very good players at the game. 2 of them just kind of landed in a rocky situation with the swap. Star, while incredibly entertaining, was not particularly good at the game. But like as far as a good Survivor Tribe can go 5 out of 6, I would pick them again. You know, like if you put the same people back on the island and run it again, maybe with slightly different comps, just like randomize the wheel of who's doing what, I think that there's totally a world where Logi are the best tribe. I think that it was always going to be one of Siva or Logi, and it was never, ever, ever going to be. I'm blanking on the name of the third one. Vula.
Vula.
Well, as we're bringing Vula up, Eloise, any quick comments on Vula?
Easily one of the worst tribes in the history of Survivor. I mean, I don't think there's many.
Lost his drink.
Yeah. Very
Cheater
much so.
about did a spit take right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I think the only worst tribe I can think of in history is that one. Was it season 13?
You think of Palau?
Am I?
Is that the one that got completely taken out, like literally decimated, and the last person
Maybe.
had to switch? I think there's a couple. Jeter, come on, you can come back. Jeter's trying to avoid spoilers for seasons he hasn't seen, so took his headphones off. I'm pretty sure I know what Eloise is talking about, but we can.
It's one of them.
Yes.
I'm gonna figure it out, and then I can tell you later.
Yes. Anyway, so that meant that because Siva got the most people of their original tribe through to the merge, that's points, 5 points for Cass and I, no points for Eloise and Jita. So then we move on to, and I think we'll do these together, we'll move on to quits and Medivacs. I said no for quits, yes for Medivacs, because there was a clip in the intro package of Jeff calling medical in, and it was a complete and utter prick tease from the editors. No such event happened, and I was caught out by the edit, so that irritated me. Jita, do you think we're past the era of quits at this point?
I think, honestly, I mean, no, because in one of the few seasons that I've seen, 45 had one. I mean, I don't know if you'd actually technically call it one, but like you had someone basically walk out in what was that, first or second tribal?
First.
Yeah, like I think it's rare. You're gonna have. I think in part because it's shorter and because Survivor's been around for so long, people know what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
And it's more rare that you're just gonna have someone who goes, I'll just give this a whack. And also because it's shorter, you know, it's now designed where like 39 days is a long time, and someone could actually get to the point where like they can't do it anymore. But I think that you'll be a lot less likely to see people who are so passionate about being on the show, especially when casting. I mean, like you could see it this season that like people really cared about it. People are passionate. I mean, Shaheen was a previous alternate.
Yeah. Season 4.
So like you have a lot of people who care about the show and are in it and invested. I just don't think that you'll really see people who get out to Fiji, or if they ever change places again, and go, no, I'm not actually, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
It'll be rare. You might get it occasionally, but it's not going to be, you know, a prominent thing for sure.
Cass, you approached the quits and Medivacs question very differently, in that you chose specific people. You said that Joe would be medevaced, continuing your Joe agenda, anti-Joe agenda from the preview, and you said that Justin would quit because he cared too much about pizza. How are you feeling about those specifics now?
I mean, to be fair, I can still see a world where Joe was medevaced, because that dude was determined to fight every inch of the way. So I actually think that was a good prediction. If there was going to be a medevac, I think that there's a good likelihood that it would have been him, simply because he was working so hard. And I mean, just physically, he demanded a lot out of himself. And so I don't think that was I don't think that was an anti-Joe thing. I think if anything, it was a pro-Joe thing, because I thought he'd be medevac because he'd worked too hard.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Justin, I mean, all we saw of his personality ended up being pizza. So, like, I wasn't terribly far off with him. He went out in the weirdest twist of the season, which is almost as good as a quit.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it might be almost as good as a quit, but it doesn't get you.
But it's not. It doesn't. Saw that. Yeah.
But that, those two together, that does mean Eloise and Jita both of them right, get, I think 5 points for each. I should actually double check that. I didn't completely check that. I'm going to, can one of you...
5 points if correct, -3 if wrong.
Okay. I thought, yeah, I was making sure I checked it right. Anyway, Cass gets 2 lots of -3, because both were wrong. I end up just about in positive, because, yeah, I got blue balled on the medevacs, but there was, I predicted no quits. Right, then we go to our confessional kings and queens. I said it would be Thomas, because Survivor loves a sassy gay man commentator. I'm comfortable with who I chose. He did get confessionals for how long he lasted. He was sideswiped in one of the best moves of the season. I think I just got a bit unlucky. Cass, you went for Bianca as yours. How are you feeling about that?
Not so great, because I don't feel like we saw tons of her.
That's fair. Eloise, you said Star. How are you feeling about that?
So the first half of the season, I'm like, I think I chose wrong here, because they just weren't really showing Star, because there wasn't much to show apart from Vula being awful. But then, I definitely post-merge, Star was just so prominent. So I don't hate it. I think I've got some points here. So not a bad pick at all.
And then Jita, you went for Eva, who turned out to be essentially one of the narrators of the season. How confident were you in that pick in the first place?
Wait, of the various picks that I went for, it was one of the ones that I thought would be most successful, because even if Eva went out early, I thought that, considering we knew that Eva was on the spectrum coming into the season, I thought that even if Eva was an early boot, it would be the sort of thing that, some early boots just don't get coverage. I felt like even if Eva was an early boot, she'd be the sort of person to get some coverage, and I thought that she had the sort of game that could go deeper, as evidenced by the fact that I backed her as a finalist. Obviously, some people didn't enjoy it, but Eva definitely did, as you put it, become a narrator of the season, just being part of a dominant alliance, plus with the storyline of, her dealing with her, or not dealing with, but addressing how autism impacted her game. I think it resulted in a lot of confessionals. I actually wouldn't be surprised I haven't looked, but I wouldn't be surprised if Eva had the most of it of anyone. It's probably Eva or Kyle.
It was Kyle. I can confirm it was Kyle.
Yeah.
Eva was either second or third. I did look at the full counts earlier. So this did have a big impact on the scores because you got points at every 5 confessionals.
Yep.
So if I reveal those points, Cassie and I get 3 each. I think Bianca had 16, and
Wow.
Thomas had 19, and then Eloise, you had Star, who had 26, so you got 5 points. Jita, I believe Eva had 78 confessionals, and so you got 15 points from that. I believe, I looked at this earlier, so I might be wrong, but I think Kyle had 92, and that would have been the most you could have got. So yeah, big points for Jita here. Next, we come to idle plays. This was specifically how many successful idle plays would there be, i.e. that somebody would have been at risk of going home without it. In the end, the correct answer was 1, because Kyle would have been... it would have gone to a revote had Kyle not played his. Obviously, there is a chance that he doesn't go home there, but given it was a 3-3, I'm counting that as a successful idle play. I think we'll also touch on Jita's bonus here, just because we're talking about idols. I have looked into it in a few places that I view as decent for reputable information. To the best of my understanding, there was no merge idol. Basically, there was one idol on each island at the start of the game, and that's what happened, and they weren't replanted, which is interesting. So, I mean, I'll go to you, Jita. That is a bit of a departure from Survivor, because recently, in recent seasons, A, there's been one on the merged tribal, and B, anytime one gets played, one reappears. Do you think it's ignoring the points on offer, do you think it's a good thing that they're limiting the number of idols?
Yeah, I think we've gone back and forth on this a lot. There were enough twists in this season. Like, I don't think that, maybe we would have had some paranoia and maybe the gameplay would have looked a little bit different if there was a merge idol. Like, I don't know whether they were told that there would or wouldn't be one. Nor do I know what, they might have gone, oh, like, there is no idol, or they might have, gone, hey, maybe someone already has it. But obviously, idols are a very good implement against a voting block like what we saw. It's one of their most powerful points, is when you're up against a group that all wants you out. You idle someone home and you stay alive for a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And I think that maybe would have been beneficial in this season, but I think that this season's a little bit atypical. From what I've gathered, I haven't seen all of them, and I think that, overall having a season where, like, you don't have someone with 6 advantages where they basically every single tribal can do something, was refreshing. It was nice to not have it, to have a bunch of straight up votes, as opposed to having, like, votes where there's a steal a vote or a safety without power or this or that, and it's like people constantly doing shenanigans. It felt a little bit more old school.
That's fair.
I was wondering, do we count Mary's shot in the dark as an idol? Because that was that one borderline because she would have gone home had she not played it.
I did consider it, but I feel like the beware advantages at the end, they specifically say basically that you're now in possession of an immunity idol when you solve them. Your shot in the dark is always just referred to as a shot in the dark. So I've chosen not to count it. There's an argument that you could, but for the sake of this, I've said not. I'm pretty sure on the original episode that we said it would specifically be immunity idols / beware advantages. But I mean, Eloise. We didn't see many idols. We did see a fair few other advantages, not necessarily all get used, but Survivor breaking out, blocker votes, stealer votes, safety without powers. Do you, when giving out advantages, would you prefer to see a wide array, or do you feel that actually if they're going to do it, focus on idols, leave other things out of the game?
I mean, being someone who doesn't really like idols, I like the other advantages that are more interesting than idol, be safe. The sneaky kind of stealer votes, blocker votes. I mean, those are good. Those are really good, but they need to not be overdone because then it gets just gimmicky and boring.
Yep.
The occasional one to put someone on their toes is good. So yeah, I feel like they should do more of those than just plain idols.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just one thing, going back at the whole what was the exact wording? Unfound idols.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to possibly throw something out that might get G to points, but I was wondering, why wouldn't the advantage that Eva had, that she had to go out at night and then she could pick a scroll, and wasn't the last advantage that she turned down that if she picked one of the 3 scrolls she'd get an idol? Technically, is that unfound?
Oh dear, I'm not sure. I didn't think it was a full idol.
Was it an idol? That's the thing. I thought it was an idol,
right.
And I thought it wasn't found.
I tell you what, we'll do a cut here, and we'll investigate, and we'll come back. Okay, we're back. So yeah, we had to do some research and have a long discussion, which I stayed out of, and I made Jeter mostly stay out of it because it was about his bonus. So basically, the agreement ended up being that there was kind of an unfound idol because the merge idol, to the best of our knowledge, didn't exist, and the prediction was made on the basis of the merge idol existing. So that's and it means that the ladies have basically offered a partial reprieve on the 7 points that Jeter would have lost. So if we skipped to the other screen, you will see that I get 5 points for being the closest to the correct number of idol plays. Eloise looking very shocked, not because we've had to do this multiple times because I messed up. Then Cass, Eloise and Jisa all get 0. Next we have Comp Beast of the season. Cass, like myself, you went for David. You didn't seem to think he'd last very long, but you also went for him as Comp Beast. Are you pleased that he did indeed turn out to be a bit of a Comp Beast?
Yeah, I am, and I mean, I'm the queen of hedging my bets, so that was another instance of hedging my bets in case he did go far.
Fair. Eloise, you went for Joe. Are you feeling pretty smug with yourself right now?
Nah, not smug at all. Yeah, he did the best in the individual challenges. His tribe was strong. Pretty sure probably the most possible points I could have got from this. So yeah, pretty happy that it just seemed the obvious choice. It was either him or David, and yeah, I picked the right one.
Very fair. Jeter, you went for Charity. That maybe didn't work out quite so well. How are you feeling about it in retrospect?
Similar thing. I think Charity maybe would have done well if she'd made it further and not kind of really struggled early merge. I think she was the sort of person that maybe would have been able to do well at some comps, but her tribe did pretty well early on, and that should get me some points. I obviously was backing my winner, and I doubled down in a situation I probably shouldn't have, but I'd make the same choice again.
Fair. So yeah, this has all got very messy because there's permutations that we should have discussed in advance, but this is a new thing, and therefore I don't really feel bad about it, and we'll know better for next time. So yes, Comp Beasts, it was 1 point for being involved in a tribe win, and it was 2 points for each individual win, and this included both immunity competitions and reward competitions. So, if we reveal, that means Cass and I both get 11 points for picking Joe, David.
Taco Milk Man.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 11 points for picking Chocolate Milkman. Eloise takes big points with Joe getting 16, which I think was six tribal wins for 6 points, and then 5 individual wins for another 10 points. So Joe was an excellent pick. And Jeter was the one affected by Charity sitting out on 2 of her tribe wins, and it means that she only picks up 4 points. Okay, then we come to the bonuses proper, and I will say, to the best of my knowledge, all of them were fails. Jeff did not razz Adam Klein on TV. I'm gonna have to decide whether I bring back that prediction for the next season, because I still think it will happen one day. Cass, you went for Justin being the first person to get irrationally paranoid. I'm not convinced that Justin got irrationally paranoid at any point. He just kind of was thinking about pizza.
I was going to say, I'm not convinced Justin had a personality that was visible on the show. So
hey, be nice.
Oh.
That was,
he did nothing.
Specified, that was visible on the show. They did not, you can't argue, they did not show any personality from him on the show. I'm not saying It wasn't there. I'm saying it didn't make the edit. So,
agree to disagree.
I feel like that's a fair. What was his personality other than pizza?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah,
Tell
Gina.
me-
What
tell me.
was it?
I feel like he was very bubbly and talking about some of the friendships that he was making. We didn't get to see him for long, but you could tell his personality. He felt, as someone from the Northeast, you could tell that he was from the Massachusetts area.
Because
Like,
I
you
feel
could
like
tell-
this was his face 9 times out of 10 that you saw him, his face was like this.
I think we're being a little bit harsh here,
Like-
and I'm trying to not
like-
play favorites. I think we're being a bit harsh on Justin.
He was literally just like, just kind of another number in an awful tribe, in the worst tribe. He was just another number that really didn't get to do much and was just kind of strung along as long as
And
he
again,
could.
I'm not saying that it was his fault. I'm not saying he has no personality. I am saying that the Survivor gods chose not to edit a personality
Yes.
into the show for him. Like it's not that he doesn't have one. It's that they did not give him an edit that was personality centered.
I disagree, but I'll leave it.
Wow.
I love that the biggest debate that's going to make it to the episode is over the personality of a pizza guy who was third boot.
He had a shirt that said pizza on it. Like,
He's an icon and can do no wrong in my heart.
But yeah.
Well, he didn't. You're right. He can do no wrong because he didn't do anything. So he didn't do anything wrong. Sorry, you are leaving that door open for me to shove something.
This might be the end of a friendship, arguing over Justin the pizza guy. But no, we'll...
It didn't end our friendship the first time around. I don't think it'll end it this time.
We'll
Not happy.
You say with a big smile on your face because it's
Not
funny,
happy
even
at
if
this.
you. Yeah, you know it's funny, even if you disagree. Your cheeks are literally—they look sore from trying to restrain your smile.
I was just we pulling Jeter now.
This is...
I'm standing up for how I feel. I'm pulling the what's his face.
You're not doing a very good job at standing for what you. Yeah, see, you're smirking though. That's not a frown. That's a smirk because you are too amused by what is happening to actually frown.
What
You may not agree, but it's freaking hilarious, and you have to admit, as a take, it's an.
Justin
it's
deserves better. I want to
hilarious.
see him on another season. Bring him back.
Problem is, they didn't
didn't
edit in
screenshot
enough
that.
of a personality. I don't think they'll bring him back. People kind of forget he played.
Jeter is
No, I'm
devastated.
I'm maulding.
Anyway, let's move on before any blood is shed or tears form. Eloise, you said that the show would show Rain snuffing a torch. I was looking for it every episode. I didn't see it. It was, and this one it was specifically stated it had to be shown in an episode.
Yeah.
So this one will not get retconned by AMAs on Reddit or bonus footage on YouTube. So unfortunately, that will be minus points on that one for you. And then Jita, as we discussed, it would have been -7 for his Find Out Idols, but he has been given 2 points leeway because of the lack of Merge Idol. So if we swap back and we put those scores in, that means Eloise, Jeter and I all lose 5 points. Cass loses 6 points. And so, it's time for the final scores. And I know what they are, and I've been thinking about how to reveal them to give the most tension.
I mean, reveal mine first then, because am I correct in assuming that I'm...
I mean, you are very correct in assuming that you're last, Cass. After an entire season of Survivor, you have 1 point.
I did predict I would be the biggest loser, and
Oh, that's incredible.
my one prediction that I got right is that I would be the biggest loser.
Yes. So let's. Who should we do next? Let's do Jita next. Jita,
Hey, yo.
your points total 21.
We'll take it.
So one point for Cass, 21 for Jita. I'll do. Let's do mine. So
Oh God.
my final points total was 22. So this all comes down to: does Eloise beat 20-2, or am I trying to tease her when I know
I don't think
won?
I've got it.
And the answer is Eloise got 23 points. Eloise is the champion by 1 point.
Want to know what's a
Which is-
madness? If I hadn't gone, oh yeah, if I hadn't been fair and equitable and gone, yeah, someone who doesn't participate in comps doesn't get points, we'd have tied.
Yes.
No, because we would have outvoted you.
I'm just saying, I did start the train.
Yes.
Honorable loser.
But then we
But
give you
not
2 extra
biggest
points.
loser.
Yes.
We give you 2 extra points for the bonus, so it doesn't matter.
It was quite entertaining that Cass and Louise agreed to give Jita 2 extra points, and then Jita immediately took himself away from 2 points.
Yes.
I think in the end it sort of worked out perfectly balanced. But yes.
Yes.
I think the scoring reflects how everything went. 21, 22 and 23 were all incredibly close. Cass, well done for ending up in positive numbers.
I'm just dying that literally, I mean, the phrase biggest loser, there was a 2-point margin between the winner
Yes.
and the third place,
Yes.
and then a 20-point margin between third place and fourth.
Yes.
Like, I am the biggest loser.
Yes. It was.
And that was the one prediction that did me any good, was predicting that I would lose the biggest.
Yes. But anyway, I mean, let's have some final thoughts on the season. Cass, we'll start with you. Final thoughts on 48 before we look to the future.
So my final thoughts on this season, I mean, a lot of people didn't like. I saw a lot of people saying that everybody was too chummy. The people who made the merge were all too chummy. There wasn't enough, like, interpersonal drama. Everybody seemed to get along really well. To me, I mean, yes, sometimes the drama is entertaining. I feel like we got plenty of that pre-merge. But I think that, honestly, as far as, like, the quality of humans that made it to the merge, I feel like this is probably one of the best groups that we've seen in Survivor. Just good people who loved the game enough to be respectful even when they lost. And I think that to me, that's something I love to see, because you do not see that very often in this game. So to see a group of people who seemed to genuinely care about each other and root for each other you don't see that. And so I think that makes this season a standout, in my opinion, just because the interpersonal drama is entertaining, but you see that all the time. What you don't see is a group of people who make it to the end and honestly still like each other, even though they voted each other out, and can respect good gameplay. And that speaks volumes about the people that were in this game, and I loved it.
Yeah. Jita, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I thought, Cass hit on a lot of it. I thought it was a really good cast. I thought that kind of the way that things played out was really interesting. Strategically, I think that there was a lot that went on. I know some people were unsatisfied that stuff didn't happen. We're already midway through filming Survivor 50. I'm sure they're still waiting on whether Mitch will make a move. But yeah, it was a really interesting cast and group, and the way that they kind of approached it. As the first season I've ever watched fully live, I enjoy binging the show, and watching things a little bit quicker and kind of seeing how the strategy plays closer to real time. But it was really nice to also have it kind of stretched out over the space of a few months. It was something that I looked forward to watching every week. And I think that, it's been really nice to see post-show how it doesn't seem like what we saw on the show was fake. That, like, from what you can see on social media, people are still friends. They are still talking. They are still posting. I think I saw something that Kyle officially got engaged or something like that. And, like, people are going to each other's events and are involved in each other's lives. Yeah, there was that. And then there was also someone else got engaged. Like, I don't want to get bogged down in the details, but, like, it's nice to actually see that the cast is still interacting with each other, and that, like, the positivity that we saw, which I enjoyed so much, was real.
Fair. And we'll go to our winner for final thoughts. Eloise, wrap it up for us.
Yeah, it was. I don't think there's much more to say about the season because everyone's covered it really well. But no, good winner. I obviously wasn't aware of any of the discourse or anything, but I just think that's people being critical, maybe, like, because I feel like good winner. I really enjoy like that. I don't think I've ever had a final three which I like all three of them. Like, I don't think I got to say it, but I think my favorite player was Eva, but Camilla was very much like. I think I let everything Eva stood for and everything Eva did kind of made me like her more, whereas Camilla was probably the best game player and then Kyle's next to her. So yeah, season wise it was good. I also, because I don't boast, I want to point out that I have won 3 episodes now. I've only lost one, and that was the Oscars, but I've won 3 now. So I am the most winningest. So I just wanted to put that out there. But no, the last thing I want to say is like after all this, after maybe some of the words we've said, and me maybe cheating Jita at a couple of points, just know that there's always a space for you at Luigi's.
Make a group trip.
Oh, love it.
I follow him on Instagram.
Oh, incredible.
Hold on, I'll pull it up on my phone and confirm while Z does the outro.
Okay, love that. But yes, we will obviously be back for Survivor 49, which I think will start probably in about 3.5 months' time, I'm gonna say. So we'll be back with 49. Obviously, we also know quite a lot about season 50 as well. So we can pretty much guarantee
His blood.
We'll be doing this again for the next couple of seasons at least. But yes, Cass, Eloise, Jita, thank you all for rejoining us. It's been a lot of fun. We will be back. What will the next episode be? I have a feeling off the top of my head the next episode will be Wimbledon, but we'll see. And also look out on social media because there are a couple of off-camera results to reveal pretty soon. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Look after yourself. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And yeah, until next time, remember, be big mystics, not big mistakes. Bye!